Assalamu alaikum friends and welcome back to the course. In this video, we are going to start finally refactoring the logic of calculating the prayer times. Let's get started. So here there are a lot of couple of functions that actually doing calculation internally. So if you go to the first function, which is get prayer time, this is the public API, the public function. Right here, it will say that it's calculating the times and then using this list to get it. Right here, if you go to this function, it's doing nothing but just preparing to calculate the Julian date. Okay, so it is doing that in the Julian date. All right, we can make this as a separate function to calculate the Julian date, no problem. And then here we have compute day times. Here, everything is happening here. Now we can delete this comment because previously we thought what is the Julian date and then we include it. Here you will see the following. We are doing double array of this actual prayer times, and then we are passing that array, modifying and creating other array from it. All right, we need to refactor this so we can extract some of the logic into another class. Okay, so we need to be careful when modifying anything, right? Of course, you have the test, just run your test every time you do modification so that we don't have errors and we made big steps. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a data class that's called prayer times, in which I'm going to put all the prayer times, but in double. Okay, so it will be something like that. And it will be private because I want to use it only for the sake of calculation and simplifying the code. So what I can do right now, I can go back here and instead of passing this double array of, I will pass prayer times like that. Now, as you can see, there are problems from here. We need to change all of this into prayer times instead of using, for example, here it is using double array and returning double array. We can take really big step without running the test and modifying everything, but we are at the risk of the test failing, of course. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple function here. It will be a helper function for us. Let's call it toArray like that. It will be, of course, a function. And then what I'm going to return, I'm going to return simply a double array, in which it will be double array of, and then all of my parameters. This will help me in the transition. After that, I can remove this function easily. Now I can go back here, and instead of doing this one, I could do this one, for example, toArray, and then boom, I can run my test and everything should pass. Awesome. Now we are going to do it for this compute times. Now, before doing that, I want to make this, because these are the default times. If you remember here, the code we written in the comment, it was default times. So this is default time the algorithm will start with, right? So I'm going to copy it and put it in here. It will be some kind of constant, but it will be private, val like that. Let's call it just the default ones. And here I can use those defaults in my code instead of using this thing. So the code is much readable. Now here's the thing, I want to use this function inside my prayer time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that. I'm going just to copy it and I'm going to paste it here. I will have some problems, of course, so I can understand it much better. Here we are doing something called the day portion. I go back to the day portion. So here is the day portion. This is a function. I can copy it and just understand it, right? Here's the day portion. It's taking a double array and returning a double array. So I prefer starting with this first because this is much complex. So I will make it as normal function. Instead of taking a double array, it will use the internal variables here, right? And then instead of returning a double array, we are returning prayer times. So people actually won't be able to change this. They are accessed from the class, these variables, they won't change it because they are immutable. Now what we are doing actually, we are taking the fields and dividing them by 24. So we are mutating them by 24. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the same thing. I'm going to create a new prayer time with those values directly. So it is prayer time, it's the previous Fajr divided by 24, sunrise by 24, and so on. So we are calculating the day portion of this prayers throughout the day. I can also rename this function to like something today portion, something like that. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this one. Where is it? Here is the prayer times. Actually, you are passing the double array. I'm going to change this one to prayer times like that. And instead of using the times of day portion, I can do the following. I can do times dot today portion. It will create today portion, but I'm going to convert it immediately to array like that. That way I can remove the previous function, where is the function of day portion. I don't need it anymore, right? I can see what is the error right now. Okay, we are this array. Nice, we don't need to pass an array here, right? I need just to pass this default in here, and then I can create the var here instead of creating it here. That way it should work. Let's run our test. and hope for the best. Exactly, it is passing. Now here's the thing. I'm going to take this prayer time and make it as a receiver, like the following. And this should work. Nothing should break. Exactly, everything's passing. Now what I can do, I can copy this code completely and paste it here. Now I want to refactor this one. Now I want to make this code return something called prayer time instead. So instead of returning this one, I'm going to use prayer times. And here, simply, it will be just the new prayer times. Okay, we have some problems here. I need to convert it to day portion. So I can use directly the day portion since we are in prayer times. I don't need this receiver anymore. Just convert the current one to prayer times. Now we have something called times. Awesome. Now this compute time here, we don't have it. Let's search for it. It's the compute time. Let me search for it with this exact name and exact wording. It is not this one, not this one, not this one. Yeah, this one, please. Exactly, here is this function. I'm going to copy it and use it directly here. Then we are going to remove it. Here we have the compute time as it is. Awesome. Now we need the calculation method in order to calculate the thing because it was accessed from the members of the class. Actually, we don't need the calculation method. We need the calculation parameter. So we can pass directly here parameters. It will be calculation parameters. And instead of using this one, I'm going to use this one. Nice. We need the compute midday, right? Let's search for it. Midday, this one. I can copy it and paste it directly here. Fine. There is one missing function, which is compute answer. I can go back to compute answer. Here is the compute answer. I will copy it and paste it also here. Awesome. Now we have some problems. I'm going to fix them later on. We need the answer heuristic. So we can pass the answer heuristic as parameter. And now here's the thing. We are using times as an array. Now we can use the direct properties, which are Fudger in this case. For example, this case is meaning sunrise, for example. And I can rename this one to sunrise like that. Here we are using Doher. And so on. We continue like the following. And here is basically the refactoring, as you can see. Now we are going to do the same thing here. This is just good naming. It will be declination. Here we don't know what is this Z for. I'm going just to rename it to simple Z. Back, still the same thing. Mid or middle, I don't know. Let's keep it as it is. And also this V. Same thing here. This is declination. And this is the G. Nice. And here we want to use this one. Let's first ensure that our tests are passing. I can go to the previous function right here. Here is the compute times. Actually, I'm going to delete this compute times from existence directly like that. Here we will have the problem, of course. So here, this one will be like that. So now we shouldn't have any problem. Actually, we need to pass certain parameters, of course. This is Julian date. We need calculation parameters like following, and we need the answer heuristic. Awesome. Now we will have a problem, of course. We need just to convert it to arrays. Like that. Now we can run our test to see if everything is passing. Awesome. Everything is passing. And we should continue doing that until we remove everything. Now we are going to go to this adjust time. We're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to copy it, not remove it. I'm going to adjust it and then remove the original one. So I can go here. What is this adjust time? We need a double array. We don't have any double array. Sorry for that. So we can delete this 8 times, right? Think about it. And then we return something which is the prayer times instead. And here we need some kind of times. All right, here what we are doing actually, we are adjusting some times. So there are some errors, right? We need to loop over the indices of the time, which is the previous double array. And then for each one, we are fixing or we are adding the previous value with the longitude. So here's what I'm going to do. So this simply implies the change in the prayer time. So we are going to create a new prayer time with this syntax. It means this logic simply means the following. For each time, we are using the previous time plus the time zone minus longitude over 15. That's pretty much it. We can remove this thing. Now, still we have problem with this code. This is trying to fix the Dhuhr minute, okay? And this is checking if there is Maghrib minutes. If there is, we are fixing the Maghrib, we are fixing the Isha, and also we are fixing for higher latitude types. I believe this is altogether is problematic. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a function that will simply fix the Dhuhr problem, okay? So it will be fix dohr, like that. And here's the thing, it will return me some prayer times, but I want to only fix the dohr, right? Let me just correct it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy the previous one. I'm going to return a copy from the previous one and only changing the dohr. How I'm going to change the dohr? Actually, we are not just copying, we are adding the previous one. So it is this one. Let me put parameter like that. It's the previous dohr plus this one. We need dohr minutes actually, so we need to pass dohr minutes somewhere, dohr minutes like that. And then it will be simple double, I think. Okay, it will be an int then. Awesome. Now here's the thing. I'm going to return the following, but also I'm going to append fix dohr like that. And I need, of course, some kind of dohr minutes. And that way I can delete this code. I'm going to repeat the same process for this function, and for this function. And actually right now is the time for the Isha prayer. Actually, I'm hearing the adhan right now. So we are going to stop for a minute, and in the next video, we are going to continue the refactoring of extracting this into some simple functions. So see you there. Salam alaikum.